Okay, in our last conversation,
Mm-hmm.
we spoke of the serpents of Asia.
Mm-hmm.
It's going as far as Egypt. What about the other continent?
Yeah, existing in many other continents, as are pyramids and structures like Angkor Wat itself.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're looking at King Tut here, for
Uh-huh.
example,
Mm-hmm.
we have the serpent coming out of his third eye, Ajna Chakra,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. And you'll see this in many of the pharaohs. So
Mm-hmm.
it's indicating that they had an understanding of the serpent, Kundalini, and in
Mm-hmm.
many of the statues it comes up the spine and going out, as it is in the Buddhas of Angkor
Mm-hmm.
Wat. So looking at this, you can see that there's an importance. The gold mask is holding the serpent right in the center here. Now, if we go to the next one, this is
Mm-hmm.
just another version from Egypt, and you can see the serpent is wavering across the head of the serpent, actually going right through his brain.
Oh.
So it's indicating the mind, and the relationship of mind to the serpent. It needs to be controlled through the mind. And the mental element, again, is magnetic. Magnetic controls the electromagnetic. They knew this stuff, and we refuse to admit that because we're too egotistical. So, leaving that and jumping into the more western side of it, we have here a picture of Quetzalcoatl. And Quetzalcoatl was a powerful deity who lived in with the Mayan people, but he was also with the Aztecs, and you'll find references to this guy all the way down to
Yeah, which
South
country?
America.
It's which countries and which cultures? Yeah,
Yeah.
the my question. Okay. And
So the cultures, the countries, before they were all separated into different countries, as
mm-hmm.
today we have in the culture of the Maya
Mm-hmm.
this deity of Quetzalcoatl, and like the Buddhas of this part of the world, like let's say Kuan Yin in China, uh, the idea of a personification of some person, some being who is connected to the divine.
Mm-hmm.
We have that in Jesus, we have it in Krishna, we have it in the pharaohs, someone who is divinely connected. So here we have from the anchors of Buddha, we have Quetzalcoatl, who was the deity, like the Buddha to the Mayan people.
Mm-hmm.
He was their teacher, their leader, their inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the serpent in this next picture. You see, we have Krishna,
Mm-hmm.
again, another incarnation. We have Jesus
Yeah.
as another divine incarnation. Always people who have evolved and are connected to the
Mm-hmm.
higher levels of consciousness, to the divine aspect of the universe. And here we have a golden Buddha sitting under a tree. These are all personifications,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a reality, the historical aspect of there really was a Quetzalcoatl, there was a Krishna, there is a Buddha. It's someone who has transformed themselves, developed their human potential to the highest level, and the relationship of the serpent to that is the important thing that we're kind of getting to here. And in your own culture, you have Genghis Khan, who was also an incredibly empowered being
Mm-hmm.
who conquered this huge area of this whole part of the world, from Mongolia to China to Russia, all the way to Persia. So
Mm-hmm.
these are people who have a power as well as a connection to the divine. And the power, again, is represented in the serpent.
Mm-hmm.
So now back to the Mayan culture.
Mm-hmm.
We have here a vision of a serpent that has wings. So a serpent that has wings is flying. And that's the same as the serpent that is coming all the way up the spine and is above the head of the Buddhas. It's indicating there's this ability to rise. It's no longer a serpent crawling along the ground. It's coming up the spine of the pharaohs. Here it's got wings and it's flying around.
Levitating.
Yeah, and you can see that this similarity of the flying serpent and the awakened serpent and the serpent that's coming up out of the third eye, they're all kind of connected, right?
Okay, it seems like a clear connection to me.
Yeah.
And serpents or snakes bring up the fear
Yeah.
in many people.
Right.
And any connection there?
Well, because a serpent is not easily seen. They crawl along. They don't make any noise. They scare people. Okay, on the outside. And here, of course, in the tropics, you've got cobras and pythons and snakes that are actually dangerous. So people have a fear of them. But internally, they represent the wave, and they give us a sense of. Actually, makes some people shiver and
it's
out of fear. So
weird or
yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah, but it's a reality. Many people see a snake and they feel fear and they feel energy rising. And confronting a snake actually triggers this inner movement of the energy of the snake. So it brings up kind of an internal fear of something going on. And the snake internally is our energy. And if our energy is not controlled and guided up into this place, it can create problems. It's energy out of control. Can be. So the idea of the Buddha, the seventh serpent, being consciousness, is governing all of the other serpents, which are the energies of the chakras. It can be a little bit dangerous if it's not under control.
And like fire out of
Control. Yeah.
And can burn your house down.
Yeah, can burn your house down. So the idea of controlling that, going into this wild serpent, and you can see here in this depiction, it's beautiful and colorful, but look at the head. It's kind of a ferocious looking. Yeah, it's kind of a dragon head, a little bit looking like the Chinese version. And this idea of the dragon and the snake, it's telling us there's something dangerous. So
it's a lion.
This, like you said, the fire out of control can burn your house down. If you're not watching what you're cooking, you'll burn all your food. So you need to be supervising when you're playing with fire. And in yoga, there's a lot of reservations, a lot of warnings about awakening the serpent, about playing with Kundalini before you're prepared or purified enough to do that. You don't awaken the dragon before you have tamed the dragon enough to control it. Otherwise, it gets a little crazy and wild. So in these images, these again representations of Quetzalcoatl, and it's the serpentine form. You can see ferocious dragon, a plumed serpent. And if we go into the next little picture here, this is the Chinese version of a dragon that is going again. You got the coils of the serpent going 3.5 times up, and a dragon head that looks fairly ferocious on top. You don't want to confront this dragon. So you want to tame it down, and if you start off with a baby snake and tame it, it's like a little kitten, or you can have a baby tiger, and it grows up and it's not attacking you because you've made friends with it. So making friends with the serpents, getting to know these powers in each of the chakras, and then unifying them, bringing them up. Part of the practice in yoga. If you have too much of this energy going up too soon in your head, your thoughts will not be able to stop. You'll be going kind of crazy with nonstop thinking. And the thoughts can be dangerous thoughts that then are empowered because there's too much energy in them. Or you can have this energy going out of control in your body, in which case your body cells, instead of just growing in a healthy way, will become kind of tumorous and cancerous and dysfunctional instead of being normal, healthy cells. Too much energy
Oh
can
my
burn you,
God.
can harm you.
Wow. So in chakra yoga, uh, you gradually learn to control each chakra energy
Yeah, one
with
at a
the
time.
mind.
Yeah.
Mm.
So if you don't do this gradual control, you end up with something like this. In this depiction, you have Quetzalcoatl with its dragon head actually devouring a human. So
Mm-hmm.
the energy, like you were saying about the fire burning your house down,
Mm-hmm.
the energy, if you haven't tamed it and made friends with it and controlled it, will just destroy you, devour you, as it is in this picture.
Oh, that's
Okay.
and the Kundalini weaken the other way, bad way. Yeah.
Yeah, Kundalini awakens when you're not ready for it. As we teach with, even with the Ekadasi and stuff. If you're bringing up your mental power, increasing the power and bringing this serpent energy up, and you haven't cleared out your mind, you will empower the wrong thoughts. You will
Mm-hmm.
empower the wrong ideas. You will empower your desires, and they'll go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll empower your fears, and they will become amplified. So the
Mm-hmm.
mind-body connection is very important, and they all understood this.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to the Angkor vision of the serpent with the
Mm-hmm.
seven heads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's this seventh chakra.
Yeah,
Yeah, King Cobra.
yeah. The seventh chakra is the king cobra. It's the highest one, and it is consciousness in the
Mm-hmm.
world of chakras.
Mm-hmm.
And consciousness is the Purusha. It's the consciousness of the entire universe. Ultimately, in us, we need to tame this energy and be conscious of where we are directing our energy to. This is why we have the yama niyama and other things
Mm-hmm.
to control, not letting the energy go into our desires. So our desires are just driving us crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So we're changing our mental attitudes, we're redirecting our thought patterns, we're stabilizing our emotions. And then everything is cooperating in this smooth way of raising the energy up.
And
In this Angkor sculpture, the three serpents on each side are the powers of the six chakras, each of them being directed, supervised by the seventh element of consciousness.
the seventh is like the King Cobra.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the boss. The boss of the others, and if consciousness is redirecting, you're choosing and directing your life. If it's the energy of the second chakra, which is the social element, and all of your energy is going there, your social life will go crazy. Your desires, your sensual desire for taste and for sex will go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're conscious of this, you
Mm-hmm.
redirect that energy and bring it back up. And in yoga, you use visual concentration, mantra, and techniques and breathing techniques to redirect this energy. Now here we're looking at a Indian version, which has five heads, a five-headed serpent, and you can see the serpent. The
Mm-hmm.
serpent becomes the human here. Uh, the human has these five serpents coming up above, just as in all the Buddha statues here in Angkor Wat. But this is India, and when you have the five-headed cobra, there unfolds another variation of the story of Kundalini, of course. The serpent is the body of the awakened being, and the five heads are the five elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the five love chakras, and Muladhara, Swadhisthana,
Dana, Ra,
Manipura, and
Arahata,
Anahata,
and
and the
Vishuddha.
Vishuddha. Yeah.
Yeah. So why they have this particular picture The king of the five is Vishuddha chakra, and in the understanding of the energy world, Vishuddha chakra is the electromagnetic element, the ether element as it is referred to, the akasha in Sanskrit. In modern language, the electromagnetic radiation is the wave function, the wave aspect of the universe. And all the atoms and molecules of our material world are made of these waves of energy. So if we're controlling the wave, and that can be done with, again, sound, the mantra, and sound is connected to Vishuddha, the fifth chakra. So through that control, we redirect, we change our thought patterns, we change things, and we're redirecting the energy into this harmonious way of working with our body and our mind. So everything is working in cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
There's quantum waves out of which everything is made. So that makes Vishuddha the king of the five chakras from fifth down. And then above that, of course, we've got the mind and consciousness. Now let's go back to the Mayan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's the wave function.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Vishuddha. It's the wave of energy that is snapping into electrons and protons. This is the whole quantum world and quantum physics, which seems to be a really complicated science that they're investing billions of dollars into trying to sort this out. Here, it's simply the wave is one aspect. The wave is wavering. Waves make sound. Anything that is wavering, and this is how we work with these energies. It's a lot through waves, through sound.
And there is a question: how connect with the prana? Is Kundalini
Yeah,
wave?
good question. The prana is another aspect of the wave. If you have the wave as we see it here, the wave, what's wavering is the electron. This is the wave going up and down, becomes the electron. And in the material world, this becomes the spin of the atom, and the electrons are the spin. In the middle, you've got the protons, the neutrons, and you can go into all kinds of subatomic particles. But the electron is what's flying around it in the wave, and in the electron, in the atom molecule, it's the electron. Now, in our breathing apparatus, we have the olfactory bulb, which when we're breathing through the nose, these electrons are detachable. In the natural environment here, in the jungle, you have a lot of extra electrons. And we're gathering that as we breathe in through the nose. The electrons go in through the olfactory bulb straight into the brain. And this is the beginning of our access to the energy. When we have enough,
to the chakras.
Yeah. And then this energy gets distributed to the chakras and charges them all up. So it's the kind of what we have access to here in the material world. When we go further into the field of yoga, we go directly into control of the electromagnetic phenomena itself. But we begin by controlling the prana. And pranayama means control of the prana. So we begin with this breathing, with this prana control. Now, if we go back to the Mayan, we have here a picture of one of the pyramids. Again, the pyramids and the serpents are very interesting phenomena and the connection to them. If you look here at the shadow on the side of the stairway going up, it's wavering, it's a wave. And at certain times of the year, if you're in Chichen Itza particularly, you see this is moving. And this is one of the phenomena of time. On the summer, at the equinoxes, I guess, you have this wave that you see stagnant seems to move. And it looks like there's a serpent crawling up. So they designed the whole structure to manifest this as a clue. This is what we're working on. We're working on the awakening of this wave. Getting the wave, getting the serpent to become alive and rise to the top. And if you look at the steps here, you have 9 steps, which is going to the 9 chakras, beyond the 7th into the universal chakras, which we don't always experience too much in our material bodies, but they're there when we leave our body. So compare this again. This is in the Yucatan. Actually, it's in Mexico. It's not. It's still the Mayan territory. Southern Mexico is very Mayan. Now this one, if you look, it's very much the same. This is in South America. This is in Peru. Look at the structure. It's exactly the same. It's got the 9 steps. It's got the entrances at the top. And if you go back, not much difference. So these cultures are thousands of miles apart, but they're using these same structures in their spiritual development, in their awakening. So also here you see a flying bird. These are the wings, and so it's a symbol of Quetzalcoatl added to this whole thing.
There is one more question.
Yeah.
There is a new generation. If I talk about the Kundalini, if I talk about the snake, chakras, it's energy, it's electromagnet.
Yeah, electromagnetic
But
energy.
they couldn't. I guess they couldn't understand because maybe I'm talking about the computer.
Computer, yeah.
Yeah, and computer is like a snake, or like
it's working on energy also.
Yeah. Then they are understand.
Yeah.
You know, and the new generation playing with the phone,
Gadgets. Yeah.
like
Yeah. We've utilized the energy in our technology, in the computers and our iPhones and these kind of things, but we have not directed our consciousness inward to see that we function on the same energy. Even your brain is very much like the computer. You have your memory, the hard drive. You have the memory you need right now to work with, the RAM. And then you have this, you're directing this with your consciousness, and we use technology to keyboard and mouse and whatever to direct and make the energy do what we want. But what we need to learn is that we are made of this energy. We can direct the energy in our thoughts using mantra, using visualization to change our thought patterns. And then we can reprogram ourselves as we do that. This is a reality of working with the inner world.
Okay, so are there any snakes in the pyramid?
Yeah, if you go back to this this vision here of the Inca pyramids, and going back to this one where, as I mentioned, you have the snake seemingly moving up. And you can see it here. It doesn't look like square. It looks like a wave going up. And at certain times of the year, it's actually looks like it's moving.
Yeah, we are repeating actually.
Yeah, but the connection is there. And the snake, the serpent. So here we come, just backtracking back to Egypt here. This is the step pyramid at Saqqara in Egypt. Far away from Angkor, we're back to this, the pyramid structure, which again is connected. The first chakra where Kundalini is sleeping is where we have a pyramid, and the pyramid folds out into the 4 directions, 4 triangles in 4 directions. And here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th step, like the cobra, the Indian cobra that has 5 serpents. Here you got 5 steps up to the top, and it's stepping up into the empowerment. So these are all symbolic, sacred geometry symbols that are giving us a story of how energy actually works.
That culture uses like kind of mandala. Yeah, their mandala is like stupa.
Yeah.
Layers.
Stupas. Yeah. So a couple of other images of, this is a gigantic pyramid down in, I think it's Bolivia. Finding these all over the world now.
But those pyramids
Yeah.
I never been in Egypt or Peru, Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
but Egypt have a mountain. They have mountain. Is there mountain?
No,
And they
Egypt
want
is flat.
flat.
Yeah. Flat, and
And
the whole Egyptian culture is along the Nile because that's the only place there's water. The rest is desert and nothing grows.
and I mean, in Mongolia or somewhere, some country have a lot of mountains. The mountain is like pure, like our temple. We are actually praying for the mountain.
Mm. Mountains are like pyramids, they're rising up
It's
towards heaven.
naturally like
Yeah,
something like that, but around the Egypt, people wants to mountain
they create mountains.
or like great
Yeah,
mountain.
and if you look at the Giza pyramid and you look up at it, I mean, you're standing at the bottom looking up. It's like a mountain. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, this is impossible. How
Like
could they build anything?
more artistic mountain.
Yeah,
But
more structured, and again, the precision of the mathematics of it are mind blowing. So many of these things, and this one here also, you see precision and accuracy and a man made mountain. And you rise to the top, and you've got this view of the whole area.
but it's really great.
Yeah. So now we come back to a serpent, and you see again here a three-coiled serpent. This is from the Inca Empire in Peru. The serpent has a wild head. Looks like a little bit dangerous or something. So, like the dragon head and the Quetzalcoatl head, it's you're looking at a symbol again, cross-cultural. Three-coiled serpent in Peru, three-coiled serpent in India, three-coiled serpent that the Buddhas are sitting on, all connected.
Oh, snake.
Yeah.
Great.
Now we have another view. This is the Peruvian version of Quetzalcoatl, and you've got different features here. You can see that there's a snake winding up, and it becomes a puma. Puma is like a lion, tiger, lion. It's a wild cat, ferocious, and it's one of their most dangerous animals. And then the wings are the wings of a condor, and the condor is a very large bird that flies around. And so they look at the most powerful animals, the snake and the puma and the condor, and put them all together into this symbol of Kundalini, which is what you want to master with your life, is gaining access to all these energies. It gives you the power of the puma, the vision of a condor that's flying high above, and the lethal power of a snake that can kill people.
Peru.
This is Peruvian, yeah.
Peruvian.
Peru.
Like a Chinese have a dragon snake.
Yeah.
And the Peruvian have a puma snake.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they're using animal symbols with animals that are ferocious, from the dragon. This is the condor. It's a huge bird. And it flies above, and of course it can sweep down. It can actually capture a snake and kill it if it wants. Like in the masks of the Egyptians, you have both. In King Tut's, you have a cobra and a vulture. A vulture is another large bird that is flying above everything.
The one.
So these symbols of big creatures with special qualities and abilities of flying above, and puma, wildcat is not afraid of anything. Everything can be afraid of it, but brings up the fear that we mentioned, the fear of snakes.
Wow.
Anyway, beautiful bird. And here we have another snake, and this snake has two heads, but you can see the wave function. It's made like a wave, the ups and downs, indicating something about waves. We know about wave theory. We know that energy moves in waves, and their cultures, these cultures in the Americas, were very concerned with this wave-like and the dream state and the magical world. The Mexicans call the Nahual, which
No,
is
well.
the world of energy out of which everything is made. It's magical and it's mysterious. So their purpose of becoming shamans, becoming medicine men, was to discover, gain access to these energies, the energies of the serpents.
Coincidence, right? What is mean?
Yeah.
Coincidence?
All of the snakes and the serpents. I mean, archaeologists will think these are, well, just a coincidence that they have snakes in all these different cultures. But if you understand what the snake represents, you understand that, well, they were all in touch with something. They had knowledge about this energetic world. Like a tiger with wings and claws of a condor, the power of this serpent, the snake, is awesome. Three powerful creatures all in one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay.
So this understanding they had of serpents was very important.
So, can you explain a bit more about the esoteric way meaning of the serpent? Esoteric meaning of the serpent?
For that, we can go inward. These are all external symbols that are teaching us something. In South America, we have 72 tribes that have been studied. 72 tribes that have been going on for generations, living through from the Amazon and spreading out and going all the way to Peru. But they all use this substance called ayahuasca. Okay. Now, they all say that when they are under the influence of ayahuasca, they see the serpent in an inner vision. They tested some of these people in the laboratory, with modern scientific instruments, mapping out all their brain chemistry and seeing everything. And they, through whichever instruments they were using, they could see that under the influence of ayahuasca, the medicine men, their DNA was radiating photons. Photons are like electrons. They're, let's say, pieces of electron. They're part of the energy world. The DNA of these people was actually glowing, lighting up.
Like a flower.
Yeah, like a flower, like a neon light. So when they were having this inner vision of the serpent, it was coming from the inner light. And your DNA, if you study that carefully, it's not a stagnant thing. At the molecular level, everything is vibrating, everything is moving, and your DNA is a coil. Coil is like the three-coiled serpent. And the serpent is moving like this. Your DNA is always moving like this. So this is the mystery of the serpent, of going into your own DNA. And the awakening of Kundalini has to do with the unraveling of your DNA, going from the molecular structure back into the energetic world. In which case, a little bit of your molecular substance is actually a lot of power. And in yoga, there are the techniques and methods of awakening this power, of actually going into your chemistry of your body and reverting your chemistry back to energetic. And this is the awakening of Kundalini.
Yeah. But we should more concentrate to inner world or inner our everything. The breathing is actually
like inspiration.
Massaging our organs. And the brain, everything, DNA, all about connect with the breathing.
The breathing is blowing into the fire. Breathing is the key to making the fire bigger. Going from the prana you mentioned earlier, starting with that, controlling that, and then gaining access and control of all the energy of the chakras.
Yeah.
This is what all these ancient cultures were about. This is what their education was about. They were educating themselves about human empowerment, and then becoming the pharaohs and the kings and the Genghis Khans and the powerful people that have made, changes in society. And
But it was sacred.
yeah, sacred and secret.
Sacred. Secret.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was this knowledge was contained for the elite, for the nobility, for the kings, for the pharaohs. Wasn't given out to everybody.
Yeah.
And that's how you end up with a hierarchy of civilization, with the leaders and the people down below who are following along.
That's
So-
why it was secret. That's why there is many war.
Yeah.
Many people want to know the
Well,
power.
yeah, people want to have that power, and the leaders don't want to give the power to everyone. They want to keep it from their enemies as well. So today we're in an age when everyone needs to become empowered, because as we see, the leaders are all gone berserk. And we need to re-empower human beings at the level of common human beings, anyone capable. Discover how to be healthy, how to breathe, and how to come back to being independently healthy and spiritually reconnected with the universe.
How
Okay.
to use our body.
Yeah, how to use our body, our breath, our abilities to enlighten ourselves and our society. Okay. Thank you for this conversation,
Yeah.
and we'll continue
Beautiful.
with more later on.
Maybe next conversation about the prana.
Yeah, we can do one on prana itself and how that works.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all for listening. Take care. Take a deep breath.